Alright, welcome to a new episode. Before we can start, we have to clean up the mat for the thumbnail. Thumbnail. And Mike Tyson.
Can't explain all the feelings that you're making me feel. My heart's in overdrive and you're behind the steering wheel. Touching you, touching me, touching you, can't you touch me?
Alright, welcome to a new episode. We're gonna continue work on E36. We're gonna do a bunch of custom stuff. And one of the dumbest ideas I've ever had, to put in a full interior in a not race car. Alright, so if you're new to the channel, let me explain how we got here. So it turned out the engine, the S54 engine, it was toast. I had to take it out. And while the engine was out waiting for a rebuild, I got all kinds of ideas, and now somehow things spiral out of control and we're turning this into the ultimate track tool. Alright, today we're installing the fuel system. Instead of the default fuel system where you just have a single tank that pumps the fuel to the engine, we're going to be installing a surge tank. We're going to be installing this because in high G corners, the original fuel tank, fuel sloshes around, you won't have enough fuel to suck up and you'll get fuel starvation. Because what happens in the corners is when you enter a corner, all the G-forces will force the fuel to one side. For example, if like going this, all fuel will go to this side and the fuel pump itself won't have any fuel to suck up. In that case, the engine dies or you get engine damage. You don't want to do that. So what we're doing instead is before it goes to the engine, we're going to put it into the catch can here. So the original fuel pump pumps it into this little tank. This is always going to be full of fuel, and this then pumps in towards the engine. Excessive fuel goes back into here, and when this is full, it goes back into the tank. Because this is always pumping at 100% capacity, whereas the engine is not always using all the fuel provided. It makes it so this tank is always full. And because it's such a small tank, it doesn't make any difference if you enter a high G corner, if you're mounting it like this or this or this, it doesn't make any difference, it will always have fuel. What we're gonna do is we're gonna place the surge tank in the trunk. We're gonna run the lines from the cabin into the trunk to the surge tank, back into the interior towards the engine. So usually you have these steel plates. They sit on here, they cover it up. But because we're gonna be running fuel lines through them, these however, sit really low above the tank. This won't have enough room for any hoses or fittings. So for that, our dear friend Olaf made us some copies of the original Super Touring GTR fuel hub caps. These are the same size, they're just a bit higher up, save some more room beneath them. We're going to be modifying these to put bulkhead fittings onto, and well, just watch and see. First we got to measure it up. Zo, even opnieuw. Hier is 18,5. Lower back. Hij ligt er niet in. Echt gewoon. It only took one take. We didn't fuck around for 10 minutes there. So these will just go like this, but with the connections, and these will go to the switch tank.
manifestatie van mijn financiële situatie. Barely holding on.
Je moet het manifesteren. Fun. F-U-N, fun. It's a fun factory.
3 hours later.
Easy peasy. So all we had to do was put a tank underneath the car, hook up two hoses. Simple enough. We have the filler hose and the evap hose. Simple. Except they're about this long. Well, when the tank is this far from the chassis, you won't be able to connect them. So you have to, well...
Ja, wat doe je even doen?
Well, one thing's for sure, this isn't how it is in the factory. Even in a Temu factory, they'd object to this kind of stuff. Oh, natuurlijk allemaal anders of niet? So we installed the bulkhead fittings onto the cabs, but if there's one thing I never ever want to do is have to take these apart because they leak or they get loose or something else. So we're just gonna super glue them. Als mijn bootje nu wegloopt, dan is dat gewoon de nieuwe plek. Not bad at all, if it doesn't leak.
It's optimistic.
I'm not gonna say where I bought them, but let's just say Goodrich was a bit too expensive. So this isn't exactly a brand stuff, but I mean we ain't got a brand budget either, so you gotta cut corners somewhere. So we thought the fuel system. So we bought these nice little hose clamps. And I wasn't sure what size I needed to get, so I was smart enough to buy both sizes. But as it turns out, I need something in between because I opted for a special hose which doesn't fit anything normal. So we're gonna have to make them ourselves, so we're gonna pick the smaller size, just simply drill them out. Oh, by the way, these come straight from AliExpress. I mean, they're just holders, doesn't make a difference, it works. Hoe vaak ga ik dat opnieuw? The answer is vaak. Alright, so we're going to be mounting the surge tank now. It's going to go into the trunk because we want to keep the fuel system pump separate from the cabin for when the inevitable happens. So we're going to go the safe route, put this in the trunk, and it'll also ever so slightly damp the immense fucking noise that's going to be generated by this little bad boy. If you hear a jet engine starting up, that's this. To mount it, we got some mounting tabs. We're just going to use some rift nuts, I think they're called in English, with some proper AliExpress tools. Mint. What's beneath here?
You
Alright, so now that we decided the final place of the tank, we can actually install the fuel pump itself. So it's simply held in place with a little ring that sets it in place, two rubber rings to keep the fluid from coming out, and a seal cap. Don't forget to remove the push this one down. So the hoses are going to be coming from this direction, so we're going to put some 90-degree corners on this as well. We're going to wait with torquing these down until we know the exact direction of the hoses.
The next day.
Alright, it's now day 2 because someone forgot to order a fitting. I'm not going to say who it was, but we forgot one 90-degree fitting. But we got it, so we can now continue with the plumbing. First up, we're going to finish the trunk, and we're going to do the lines through the interior, and then we should be finished. Well, until we find any leaks, but we'll see it when we get there. All right, so we're gonna finish the... Yeah, I know, I'm damaging the out of them, but who gives a shit? No one's gonna see. Wat?
Wat was je nou aan het doen? Wat is deze ketting zetten?
Eens testen. Dan weet je of die goed is. What I've done is I took one of the hoses I made, I put a cap on one end, and then I used a little adapter for this type of hose to rubber hose, and then I yeeted it onto the air blaster, and this way I can put air on it, so there's like 6 bar on the compressor, which is in the hose now. I can hear it's not leaking anywhere, so this hose should be good. And considering this is good, I'm not gonna bother testing the rest. Mostly because it takes a lot of time and I'm lazy and I like a gamble, so I'm gonna gamble that it's good. I mean, if I untie it, you can hear the pressure releasing. So there you go, one tested hose. And this should vouch for the rest of the hoses.
Qu'est-ce que je vais te nommer? Je vais te nommer l'amour, l'amour tendre, l'amour qui chante doucement dans mon cœur, l'amour sans logique à la raison.
Alright, we finished up the fuel system. It's looking absolutely fantastic. I really like how it looks. So yeah, there's one more thing we can cross off the list, and we can now move on to the interior itself, because we got a lot of stuff to put back, because even though it's going to be a not race car, I still want to have some comfort features, such as the carpet and some panels and the dashboard. But before we can start with the interior, we first have to close up the gap in the dash, because there used to be a heater core here, which supplies heat into the cabin using water from the engine. But we removed it because it's this big, it weighs about 10 to 20 kilos, and it's in the way of the roll cage right here. You could use an aluminum plate and just button it all up, but seeing as I really like how carbon looks, we're gonna make things complicated again, and we're gonna make something special. Something special meaning a carbon block-off plate, because no one...
Carbon block-off plate that you'll never see.
Yeah, but we're gonna see it. All the people are gonna see it. Like, we can't just use a simple plate that will be sufficient for use. That's not how we do things. We're gonna overcomplicate it.
1 week later.
Alright, I'm currently making a little template because earlier our dear friend Olaf made us a carbon version of the bulkhead delete plate. This is where the heater core used to be, so there's a big hole from in the engine bay to the interior, which isn't really useful if you have a fire. So we wanted to make a block-off plate on the inside. So what I did is I made an aluminum plate in the correct curvature of the panel. We used a plate to lay a carbon piece over it, or I didn't do it because I don't know how to, but my good friend Olaf made this for me. So this is laid on top of the aluminum plate I gave him, and now we can use this to make an actual cover plate for the hole. I'm going to use a piece of cardboard, cut out the exact places where the cage intersects with the headboard, and then we can use this to make an actual block-off plate where the cage can go through the panel. If it doesn't make sense, it'll make sense when you see it. Remember to always use breathing protection when working with carbon, because it's really toxic. Ja, dit is iets te veel life expectancy. Die paar maandjes kon ik nog wel sparen, maar dit is weer 4 jaar, dus... Goed, hè? More tape. Well, we're going to be using riv nuts because in theory they should never come off unless it's a really hard crash. But no, riv nuts just seem cleaner, and we're going to use that. But I'm going to, for this time, because you guys are watching, I'm going to mark out where they come so they're all neat and tidy instead of zigzag all over the place. Alright, with the bulkhead sealed off, we can actually finish the interior now. Before we continue, however, there are some missing pieces beneath the carpet, some little braces that hold the carpet up. We need to put those in place before we can continue. So we're quickly gonna run to a local scrapyard to get those. Alright, we've made it to the scrapyard. Well, what do you know? Just what we're looking for. It's incredible. Bingo. So yeah, this is the part we were missing. So we thought we didn't include it because it just easily slipped in afterwards. Psych! We played ourselves.
3 hours later.
I want to make sure the dashboard's clean before I ruin it again. Okay, so we're making a new dashboard fit. The reason we're doing that is because we actually fitted the old dashboard, and even though we took all possible measurements to make it as perfect as possible, there's still a slight gap of about ½ centimeter between the bars of the roll cage and the dashboard itself. And we really want to get things as flush and neat as possible. So we got a second dashboard to make this one perfect. Famous last words. But we're gonna try and make this one fit perfectly. And besides that, the old dashboard, we cut away most parts of the sides to make it fit, which made it easier to fit, but it really looks terrible from the outside. So we're gonna try keep as much of the original dashboard as possible. So it's gonna look as neat and non-race car-y as possible. So the last time we made this dashboard, we 3D scanned the dashboard and the interior of the car, so we knew where the cage was gonna be. We then used these clips or molds to draw out where the cage was going to intersect the dashboard. However, we took it on the safe side and took a bit of margin around the cage, but that looks terrible. So this time we're going to do it a bit neater and a bit more with tight tolerance. The only thing is that I hope we actually fit it into car again, because we're going to have to twist the dashboard to actually fit it between the cage. So it's either break or make, because either it's going to rip apart in the middle or it's going to scratch up the paint on the cage, who knows. But we're going to try and make it as nice and neat as possible, but there's probably a reason why people don't do it this way. which we're gonna find out. Doesn't matter.
Fuck around, find out.
Fuck around, find out. But you know, when you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. Graden. 30 graden en 30% kans op succes. So that's the theory. Nee, this is one-way tickets. We only do one-way tickets here. To bankruptcy, to everything. Met jou kunnen we echt 0,0 footage gebruiken. Cancelled again. Even reassessment.
Heb je deze helemaal...
Wij hè? Oh, maat. Ja, oké, nee, komt goed. Ik ben namelijk nog niet klaar voor het alternatief dat het niet goed komt. So this dashboard apparently didn't have the aligning tabs, so we just copied them from the other dashboard. It should now, in theory,
Nice.
fit into place.
Kan niet laten, dan moet je die satisfaction hebben om erin te klikken.
Ja, ik klik hem liever nu erin, wetende dat hij misschien straks eruit moet. Maar dan
Of in ieder geval kicken.
heb je in ieder geval die instant gratification.
This is the commitment.
You know the fitment is good when you can't even get the tape removed between it. We don't have any more tape left, so. What? You gotta improvise sometimes. We don't have money for sturdy tripod, so you know this is our safety precautions. Because we're all about safety here. All right, let's hope this never ever has to come out again.
Wat je kunnen zo gebruiken.
Ja, is goed hè. Het kan lekker backfire.
Als dan de haak die buiten is.
All right, that's one dash in. That's not going anywhere. Well, sometimes you need some.
Maybe just tighten down the dashboard.
Yeah, you need some minor adjustments. This is a minor adjustment. If we're a big adjustment, I'd have the grinder. This is a minor adjustment. Okay, so we might have overlooked the vents. We added some extra bracing for the steering column, but that's apparently in the way of the vents. Who would have known? We'll put that there. And then... You might be wondering, what the fuck are you doing? But it doesn't matter, we don't need those anymore because these used to go to the heater core that we don't have anymore, so it doesn't matter. So that's the excuse for the hillbilly shit you're seeing. There you go. My hands are too big for this shit. Take 6. We should be able to put most of the small stuff back into the dashboard now that all the big stuff is mounted, and then we can start working on the custom stuff, such as the sides where the cage is going to interfere with a lot of the interior parts, but we'll see that when we get there. Me being smart about things is really biting me in the ass right now. Alright, we didn't completely remove everything again because we forgot to include the shifter. But now you can see us putting on the finishing touch. So it almost fits, but the roll cage is just slightly in the way. So we're just gonna make a little template. 46. All right, so we're all finished here. It's looking absolutely fantastic. Really happy with how it turned out. And yeah, nothing to add really.
You know this is not a Mr. Beast video, eh? The last one that stops touching the...
I don't know what you're talking about, mate. But we might need some super glue. Like, this is the self-adjusting part. Like, now it really clears everything.
You made it fit.
So, wait, we have a spare. We have a spare because I already fucked up once. So I had to buy another dashboard.
The next day.
We're back, we're fresh, and we're starting with the most impossible task, which is this footrest. This is supposed to go behind the cage. There's only one way to install it, and it's like this, which is pretty impossible considering there's like a spider web of roll cage here. So the mission of today is, well, it's delusion, anger, acceptance, and then we're gonna grab the angle grinder, but you'll see that later on. So the idea is to get this behind the cage. So we're gonna do what we're gonna do best. We're gonna try force our way into it.
Zoals Houdini kijkt mij niet eens.
Bro. But we're gonna try. Plug and play. Muy bien. All right. Another job done. Easy peasy. Just like the rest. Smooth sailing. Next on the list is we're gonna try and make this fit again, which obviously has some complications. We're gonna cut away whatever is necessary, which is a lot. All right, with some minor adjustments, it should now, in theory, using a very special installing sequence, fit. Would you look at that? First try. Don't look at that.
Boy, jij wel.
Don't show up the stack of dashboards. Okay. All right, that is the dashboard completely fitted up. It only took us 2 weeks and 2 dashboards, but it's in, it's looking fantastic. Really happy with how the cutouts are for the cage, because it doesn't get any tighter or any neater than this. It's about 50% skill, 50% luck, but it all worked out in the end. Now we can move on to more fun stuff, being more interior panels that needs cutting, because I opted for the full cage. We'll see what other problems we run into, because we can always strip parts from Mark's car when they don't work out. Yeah, like we're building so many E36s here. The last person to finish the E36 is gonna miss a lot of parts. Like, you find a center console, it could be from any one of these cars. You just take it, you know? It's yours, yeah. Like, first come, first serve. So last person to build this car is gonna have a field trip. All right, let's continue, because we've got a lot of stuff to finish, because today is October 5th. And you're probably watching the video today. So that should show you how far ahead of schedule we're not. We're the absolute worst.
5 minutes later.
All right, it looks like we got really lucky with the fitment of the cage, because as you can see, we managed to fit the outer part of the dashboard. And it looks like the glove box is gonna fit right in between here. It's just a matter of whenever everything lines up. Loosely put this on here for now. Okay, so we welded in mounting points for the harness in the floor and the chassis. We gotta mount these though, but they're somewhere beneath the carpet. So we're gonna play a game of Twister. And then we can drill into them from the bottom so we can see them where they come out.
Oh, whoa, whoa.
All right, harness mounts are in. We're gonna put the seats in, but first, have a beer. Bro, what the? Fuel hose, but probably not critical.
The next day.
All right, so if there's one thing I really dislike, it's how this looks. So you have these horn buttons, you can put them on there. They also look like dog shit. So we're gonna make a simple backing plate out of carbon. This is like structural carbon, so it's really sturdy. Should be simple. Cue the timer. It's a calculated move. I took off enough tape until it was the right diameter. I like it for an actual 20-minute job. It's not bad. Okay, not bad. We're gonna find a better sticker, a little bit smaller and actual glossy look, not this fake stuff. But it was just a test fit and I really like how it came out, so definitely gonna finish that. So originally you have this piece that sits beneath the dashboard, beneath the steering column, but there's some problems with that. So that's not gonna happen, but we're gonna see if we can at least make a little cover plate that sits here. seat frames. Yeah, so these are temporary seat frames because due to construction, it's pretty high up, which normally isn't a problem, but with the cage and helmet on, you're gonna be hitting your head against the cage. So we're gonna need to get some new seat frames that allow me to sit lower, but that's for another time. We just wanna get everything installed first so we can see if everything's correct. And because we're impatient and we wanna see the finished result. Bro, I barely know how to tie my own shoes, okay? I don't want to risk my life gambling some fucking farmer's nut. I'm gonna do it the right way, but I keep forgetting what the right way is. All right, I don't know how we did it, but we managed to put every single part of the dashboard and interior back into the car. It was an absolute shit show. We had to cut up so much stuff. We probably used up 2 interiors to get this one right, but the result speaks for itself.
We get in your car and you lead to kiss me. We talk for hours and lie on the backseat. And then one bright the night when everything changes. You won't reply and we'll go back to strangers.
Okay, so if there's one thing this build is still missing, it is a correct tachometer. Because this one only goes up to 7 and the engine goes up to 8300. The original M3 cluster, expensive, it's like 800 euros and it only goes up to about 8. So that doesn't really cut it either. And I really don't want a digital dash because it really doesn't fit with the aesthetics and the character of the car. So we did the only thing we can, and let's go above and beyond, make something extraordinary. We partnered up with Roy from Bavarian Wood. He built us a completely custom gauge. We made him a custom gauge plate with our own logo and a bunch of other stuff. We gave it to him. We told him it needs to go up to 9,300 kph. See how it goes. And he did. He went above and beyond and we got this.
When it was me and you, but every time I meet somebody new, it's like deja vu. And when we spoke for months, what did you ever mean? How can they say that this is love when it goes like this? We get in your car and you lead to kiss me. We'll talk for hours and lie on the backseat. And then one bright the night when everything changes, you won't reply and we'll go back to strangers.
All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching. This is gonna be it for this episode. If you wanna help us do all the regular YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, rant, roast us in the comments, I don't care. Next episode, we're gonna have something really special in here. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.